Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like I just literally you know what, I literally just sat down like literally like 3 minutes before I sent the invite to you, so it's not like I was sitting here for a while waiting for you.
Okay,
And so
good.
like I put this together so quickly. I'm trying to think of anything that like basic. I feel like I must have forgotten something, but I don't think I did. But yeah, whenever you're ready to start we could do the first sync for
Yeah. Shall we do the recording thing?
recording, and then yeah.
All right. So on the count of three, start recording
Yes.
in iTunes. All right.
Okay.
All right,
Yes.
go. One, two, three.
Okay.
All right, and we are now both recording. And now on the count of three, I'm going to clap. All right,
Okay.
and you're going to clap also on
Yeah.
three. All right.
Yes.
All right. One, two, three.
Woo!
All right.
Okay, I think that was timed perfectly.
There we go. Okay, my
Oh
friends.
my God. So
Let
yes.
me add a few show notes real quick, and I'll be ready to go.
Yeah. You know what? I was thinking, since you've only got about an hour, we'll just ditch the Geek Week in Review and we'll just talk about our, just stuff this week. So.
I think I can be pretty breezy on my week because I'm only going to talk about three.
Oh no, but like there's actually a decent chunk of Geek Week in Review. We could just roll it into next week. There's no big deal.
We'll see how we get. We'll see how far we get.
Exactly. But if it's just us talking, that's just as fine too. It's not like we need. It's not like we need to talk about. Oh shit! I was gonna drop a little
Bill,
fake.
you're killing our time here by talking about what we don't have to talk about.
I know. When you type it, I'm just saying.
All right, friend, you ready?
Yes. Okay.
Hey, everybody. Hey you. Hey, friend. Hey, pal. Hey, buddy.
Hey, friends.
Boy Hattie podcast. For some GD reason, you're listening to our dumb, terrible podcast. I'm Annie.
I'm Bill.
We're here to talk to you about some pop culture garbage and things we did this week and whatnot, and all these things that are relevant to your interests and mine. My wife is going to open the door
scowl of a podcast
and let in my screaming kitty. Let her. I closed the door so she couldn't come in.
Let me know that I never sidetracked the podcast with cat talk. That's never my thing. Do you appreciate my cosplay today in honor of the movie we're going to be talking about this week? I've got my Snowpiercer cosplay on. Do I look just like Captain America with my little skull cap? Although mine has the little Zelda logo on it. But.
Did you really think that just having vague facial hair and a toque makes you... what was his name even? Curtis from Snowpiercer?
Yeah, no, I do live with an Asian guy. If we can get him and his daughter to like...
That's literally all it takes, my friend.
He is addicted to KRONOL.
Or is he? Ba ba ba.
And by KRONOL, I mean Lego, but that's a whole other story.
So speaking of addicted to Lego, this Friday we took Bill on an expedition. That's right, we took him out to Bricks and Minifigs in scenic.
That was the
Candy,
best
Oregon.
because this was not like this was not a planned trip. This was out of the blue. Like I was ready to sit down and start doing work on Friday, and then like right around lunchtime, you're like, "Hey, Bill, let's go on a trip. Let's go to buy some Legos." I was like, "Oh shit, that was great."
Yeah,
it was a very cute time.
Yeah, Foley was telling me about how, I'm going to clean the grill and I'm going to do some weeding and I'm going to mow the yard and all this.
Done, yeah.
And I just looked at her and said, or we could go to Bricks and Minifigs and take Bill with us.
Which is funny because Foley's not a Lego person, so it's not like she was essentially just kind of chaperoning us.
She also enjoys Lego. In fact, we spent equal amounts of money on Lego while we were there because I got a random bag of Lego and she got a garbage van thing for her desk at work.
Oh, that's right. She got from the Lego movie. What's like the little what are they called? The manager guys, micromanagers. Yeah. Well, no, but I think the big thing she liked it so much because it had new micromanager. Because she's kind of like a manager at work.
She has a micromanager at her desk at work.
Now she has two.
Now she has two, and but she really also just liked the garbage van. It's a nice little kit, so she had a good time.
Oh yeah. So wait, so is it like a flying garbage van? Is that what it is?
Well, Lego has some sets that are multi-sets, where you can build multiple things. Obviously, it's Lego and you can build infinite things, but they'll include...
So it's kind of like a Transformer? You could build either or?
Well, yeah, it's like they'll give you instructions for either. So you can either build a flying weird garbage truck thing or just a standard garbage truck. So she built a standard garbage truck.
Why would you not want to build a flying garbage truck?
Because she loves garbage trucks, and it was just a really good garbage truck figure.
Foley, you know what? Ron loves Twizzlers.
That's right, Bill.
Foley loves garbage trucks.
Bill, tell us about what you purchased at
I dropped $100 fucking.
Do.
This is a total impulse buy. Like I said, I had no idea that we were going to go to this goddamn store. For listeners of the podcast, this is the same shop we talked about last week. It's a local place here in Portland called Bricks and Minifigures, and they do sell mostly its new Lego stuff, but they do have a big display case, like a long display case full of pre-built used Lego kits that people, I guess, they build them and they get tired of them and they just bring them into the shop and sell them to the shop, and you can buy them back from the shop. Like they had the big Millennium Falcon there, like you buy it pre-built with all the little minifigures and everything for $100, which I think the actual to buy brand new is like $200 or something like that. So. I mean, if you want to cheat,
and they also had a lot of discontinued sets and
exactly stuff like that. Well, they also had a display case that's full of stuff like made from the ground up by other people. So it was
it was really cute.
That was a display case. They weren't selling that stuff. Like they had a giant Doctor Who TARDIS, and they had this whole crazy Batcave thing.
Yeah.
And but they do sell,
adorable.
Like you mentioned last week. I know this. Apologies in advance to anyone who already heard Andy talk about this last week, but this is the first time I've managed to see this for myself. Yeah, but they do have a couple big tables just filled with random Lego pieces that you can essentially you could fill up either like a little plastic tub or a big plastic bag, and essentially whatever you can fill that plastic bag or tub with, you can. And depending on the size of the plastic bag or tub, they charge you like $20 or something like that. So you can take as many random pieces as you can squeeze into those bags.
Which I did. I got more bits and bobs for Benton, my sobriety Lego Western town. So.
Yeah, and you were specifically just looking for all these brown and gray pieces too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cute.
I've got a mission, my friend. Well, Bill, tell us about what you purchased.
So what I purchased was the best thing. So the other thing they sell is they actually they have little. Well, one of the big things with Lego sets is a lot of Lego sets have exclusive little minifigures that only come with very specific sets. And so what this place does, I guess when people sell back old sets, they'll take the little minifigures out and sell them separately. And so they have a whole bunch of minifigures they can just sell by themselves that you otherwise would have to spend $100 to buy a whole big, say there might be a special Han Solo that only comes with the Millennium Falcon. These guys will actually just sell that Han Solo. It'll be like $10, but if you just want that Han Solo.
They usually sell it for cheaper than if you were to buy it on eBay.
Well, and then I didn't realize until last week that podcast listener Grumpy Turtle, he had mentioned to me that there was a whole line of series of Simpsons blind box Lego figures out there.
Yeah.
And rather than just buying the Simpsons figures by themselves, they're in blind boxes, so you have to it's always a gamble which one you're going to get. Which I never even heard about that until he started tweeting at me about them. And so we go to the store, and of course they have a whole big display case of all these blind box Lego Simpsons stuff. And so I bought I dropped $100 on. Well, I've got Ned Flanders and Krusty the Clown and all kinds of crazy shit. I've got Mr. Burns and Milhouse and Ralph Wiggum, and I did that. And I got a couple Lego movies figures. I've got Emmett and a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff too. But yeah, I got about 10 or 12 or 15 Lego minifigures, and that cost me about $100.
Dude, let's not talk about how much money I spent on Benton. It is
no, but it just saying, but especially for this
Lego, don't take long, my friend.
Especially this being an impulse buy, $100, and especially when you can't especially they sell them in these little Coke baggies, and so walking around with $100 worth of plastic in these tiny little Coke baggies, it really does feel like a drug experience.
Oh my goodness.
They're awesome. It's so cool.
Yeah. So yes, we had a lot of fun at Bricks and Minifigs. The other driving trip that I made Foley go on this weekend was we drove down to Ashland, Oregon, down in southern Oregon, right towards the California border.
And, is it that south? I didn't realize it was that.
We had a 4.5-hour drive to and from. So drove down to Ashland to see Ticket and some Shakespeare. That's the home of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in scenic Ashland, Oregon. Beautiful town. Mm-hmm. We went to the Allen Elizabethan Theater, which is designed to kind of look like the Globe. It's an outdoor theater. Our performance started at 8, so we schlepped down. We were in the car for about 5 hours.
Did you guys get rained on then? Because here in Portland, it's been raining all morning.
It was 100 degrees. We did not really. I mean, this was a very much so an impulse trip, and I'd never been there before. And though I know people who have gone, I hadn't really talked about the experience.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know it was A, an outdoor theater, and B, I did not really know the dress code. So Foley and I kind of dressed up like you do for theater, not knowing that I was going to be sitting next to a dude in a tank top, shorts, and flip flops. It's a much more of a
little white button-down shirts or something like that.
Oh fuck no! It was people in like fucking.
No, I'm talking about how you guys were dressed.
Oh no, I wore a dress and shit and nice shoes and fully wore suit pants and a nice button-up shirt and shit and like.
So you guys were opera people at the barnyard as opposed to the opposite thing, which like.
I was dressed like you dressed to go see goddamn theater, not like.
The saying is like you feel like the farmer at the opera or at the but you guys were the opposite. You guys were like outclassing everybody.
Exactly, that was it. Which is trickier. Poor Foley, she had her wool suit pants on in 100-degree weather, so she was a champ. But yeah, the production of Two Gentlemen of Verona we saw was an all-female production, and the costuming was really interesting. It reminded me a lot.
Interesting, you say bullshit.
No, it was actually really cool. It reminded me a lot of if Jen Manley Lee, friend of the podcast, Jen Manley Lee, who does the comic Dicebox, had been asked to design it. Essentially, the concept was they originally Shakespeare's plays were performed by an all-male cast. So they tried to turn it on their ear by doing an all-female cast, and they decided to stress the fact that Elizabethan male clothing, by modern standards, is kind of feminine looking. Like there's all the tight hose and like emphasis on
kind of like poofy
narrow
shoulders
hips,
and stuff. Yeah.
And kind of
figure defining stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. And so they kind of conflated Elizabethan fashion with high fashion, modern high fashion. And it was very interesting and very cool. It was a neat little production. Two Gentlemen in Verona, never seen it before, is a shitty play. It was a really bad play.
Let me guess. There's love triangles and love quadrangles and people getting the work. Really?
There's a sort of a love triangle.
Are there not people falling in love with like multiple other people and
there's one person who falls in love with another person. What's most interesting about it is that the villain is the hero. What? It's kind of a weird thing. The protagonist Proteus is a really intensely unlikable character. Who falls in love with his best friend's girl, and then decides he's going to steal his best friend's girl despite the fact that he, Proteus, has already declared love for someone else. And before he goes to woo his best friend's girl, says, you know what, she probably won't like me, and she'll think me inconstant and disloyal because I'm kind of betraying my best friend and betraying my sworn love. But whatever, I'll figure it out. And then she proceeds to hate him for exactly that reason. Does not figure it out. Does not work out for him. Until the climax of the play, where he attempts to force himself on his best friend's girl, is narrowly prevented from doing so by his best friend. She forgives them, and they all live happily ever after.
How were the actresses?
They were all astonishing. They did a really good job. Yeah. It was a really lot of fun. It's a goofy show. And
man, I think it sucked for you in the audience. Imagine being up on that stage for like 3 hours in those those outfits.
You could feel the fans blowing from backstage. They were really, and they were very clearly, the costumes were designed knowing that it was an outdoor theater.
Well, exactly, yeah. You know, if you're going to be on stage in Oregon in the middle of July, it's going to be a little toasty, yeah.
It was all white clothing and light fabrics, but it was this cast was really, really good. You know, the only way that show works is if the person playing Proteus is very charismatic and charming and young. Because basically the whole point is that he's young and stupid and doesn't know any better.
Did you guys just go for Two Gentlemen of Verona just because it was what was available on your weekend?
I went looking at tickets because I was in the mood to go see some more Shakespeare after we'd seen such a good show up in Stratford to see their Shakespeare festival. So I was just looking at all the shows. I was like, Richard III, I don't really want to drive that far. But when I saw that Two Gentlemen of Verona was an all-female production, I thought, why not?
That's kind of interesting, yeah.
I looked at the tickets that were available for the next coming weekend, and there were 2 front row center seats available.
Ooh, that's nice, yeah.
The entire theater was full except for these 2 front row center seats.
It's just funny that you went to go see Shakespeare, and like the weakest part of the whole experience was actually the Shakespeare part.
Yeah, it was really. I mean,
that's usually not the biggest usual potential point of failure. Usually, the plays are pretty.
Oh, baby girl, it depends on what Shakespeare you go see. Like the last. But before this show, I went to go see the last Shakespeare I'd seen was Cymbeline, which is one of the last plays he ever wrote, and is also a big old stinker. Though that production very much so salvaged it, very much so. So anyway, I saw some Willie Shakes. It was a lot of fun. Almost killed my poor wife by making her drive in 100-degree heat in our
And you gotta
black
get a
car
license.
for
You gotta get a
5
license.
hours.
Oh.
My wife is a trooper. She's a champ. So
Yeah.
God bless Foley. And then today
This was last night, and you guys just got back. We're recording. It's 8 o'clock p.m.
I literally
like the night after you guys actually watched this. Yeah.
I literally got out of the hour, snarfed a sandwich, and hopped on the computer to record this. So yeah, poor Foley. She drove for 5 hours yesterday. We got there and with enough time to eat dinner, saw a show, crashed our hotel, woke up, drove home.
Well, so, even though, that was Saturday, and even on Friday, you fully wound up driving us like an hour and a half out of town, an hour and a half back.
I'm telling you, she's a champ. Though today, on the way back in, we got going early enough that we were able to be a little more leisurely, and I said, Foley, can you please stop at the Oregon Mystery Spot? There's this place called the Oregon Vortex. I'm pretty sure it's OregonVortex.org. Oh, see, this is like mystery spots are pretty old school roadside attractions. Yeah. In fact, the way that I first became familiar with the concept of the mystery spot, or like the vortex, is actually in the LucasArts adventure game, Sam and Max Hit the Road. Is one of the places they stop at is this fictional mystery spot in Washington.
I saw you tweeting at Jake Rodkin, and he tweeted back you a map from the game, and it shows the Oregon is represented on that map by just a fucking vortex. So what is the vortex?
It's basically a magnetic anomaly. It's this location that was long before asshole white people barged in. The natives actually avoided the area and called it the Forbidden Area, the Forbidden Grounds, because their horses were too scared to go there. The horses weren't comfortable there.
Oh, weird.
And dogs don't like it there, and birds don't tend to nest there. It's a strange. It has always been this strange area. And then they like donkeys wouldn't go there or anything like that. Eventually they discovered gold in it, and they decided to go for it anyway. But it turns out that there's some sort of magnetic anomaly, and there's some theories as to what's going on, but there's nothing too sure. But essentially, light there warps, and your perception is slightly off. And so there are all these places where
this is the Oregonian vortex.
This is the Oregon Vortex. There are, you'd be standing there, and there are 2 posts with a level area between them, and she'll put out the level, and there's the center area is level. Each post is level, and each post you can measure with a measuring tape. Each post is 7 feet tall. But your perception of them is that one post is about 3 to 4 inches taller than the other post. And if you have 2 people stand with their backs to this post and watch them as they exchange places, one seems to become shorter while the other seems to become taller.
Okay, that's pretty fucked up.
And basically, your perception of what is there's this whole crooked house, which is kind of ridiculous. I
saw a photo of that. Yeah, what the hell happened there?
It's an old mine. It was part of the mining assembly, and it fell downhill during the storm.
Okay.
And it's basically it's a crooked house, but since it's a house that's already all wonky and out of proportion, it kind of skews your house, even further your sense of proportion. So you'll stand in one.
It looks like something from a Tim Burton set or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like a house that's just been shifted 45 degrees on its side. Yeah.
When you're in this house, all of your sense of perception and gravity
you go inside the house?
Straight. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's part of the tour. You go inside the house.
Fucked up. I thought it was something where this is cool. We're not going to demolish it, but we're obviously not going to let people into this house that's falling over.
When you're inside this house, there's this one area that seems to be a ramp going upwards.
Yeah.
And but the tour guide puts a bottle on the ground and rolls it down the ramp, but in fact rolling quote unquote down is in fact rolling up, and the bottle rolls back towards them. It's a weird place. And
so did Sam and Max? Did they actually show the vortex in the game?
Yes.
Or is it just something on the map?
It's a goof. It's it's an environment, but it's builders floating furniture. It's not quite based 100% on reality. This is also a game where you can go bungee jumping out the noses in Mount Rushmore on booger-colored bungee cords. So
it's not the first time you've actually seen this place in real life, though, despite it appearing in one of your favorite video games of all time.
Foley is she always tends to drive, and when we're driving, she's very focused and she wants to get to our destination. So we
Yeah.
rarely stop at tourist attractions. But at this time, I just looked at her with a heart full of hope. It's like, Foley, can we go to the Oregon Vortex? And this is the perfect, actually, attraction for her because it was kind of weird science. Like, it's very strange from a scientific.
Have you guys ever thought about taking a road trip to visit all the places in Fallout New Vegas in real life?
Fuck no! I'm not gonna go.
Have you seen all the locations that are actually, like, I didn't realize so much, like, that's the stuff in that game is actually based off of real, like, it's very specific, like, what's the first town you run into? Like, giant chunks of that town actually exist in real life as they're depicted in the game. I was really super surprised.
That's how all the Fallout games are. All
Really?
the Fallout games are very deliberately based in real America.
Well, I figured. Well, I mean, you expect stuff like that with like Washington and monuments and stuff like that, but like a little town out in the middle of fucking nowhere.
That's how Fallout works, my friend. It's based
Yeah, like the
in
first
real
bar you visit. I mean, that's a place in real life that you can go. I think they changed the name of it, but it's a place that actually exists.
That's what they do, my friend. That's what it's about. It's Fallout. Anyway, went to a vortex. It's weird because your inner ear does get all fucked up there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have severe vertigo and dizziness anyway in my life, and it was so funny because Foley was just wandering around and looking all confused and like headachy, and I'm like, now you know how I feel every goddamn day.
Aw.
So anyway, it was a lot of fun. I got a T-shirt, so I had a authentic Oregon road trip experience.
Is the T-shirt badass?
No, it's terrible. It's ridiculous.
Like a picture of a vortex with like the words like Oregon Vortex, like it's being sucked into the vortex, like in big cartoony letters.
Bill, I'm sure it's a design that is fundamentally unchanged since like 1972.
No. Oh, that's got merits too.
It's the donkey.
That's
it's
cute.
ridiculous.
I mean, you gotta love like roadside bullshit like that, yeah.
Exactly.
Even if it's old-timey bullshit. Well, especially if it's old-timey bullshit. What the fuck am I talking
Bill,
about?
tell me about the Kingdom of Dream and Madness and the Wind Rises.
The Kingdom of Dreams and Madness. This is a documentary about Studio Ghibli. I had never heard about this until just a couple days ago. I guess in 2014, I think they're German documentary people decided they were going to film Hayao Miyazaki as he's directing The Wind Rises, which turned out to be his last animated film. And so it's a fly-on-the-wall documentary just tracking everything that he's doing for like the last 6 months of development for this film. And it's just really interesting. It's not super action-packed. I mean, it's mostly just following him around like at work and at home and just talking about his philosophy of like storytelling and filmmaking and stuff like that. So it's not like there's crazy stuff like, oh my god, the film's falling apart, what are we going to do to get it finished in time? There's not much of that stuff, but it's just, it's really just interesting if you're an animation fan of Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Really cool to see. And especially, like I said, with this last feature film. And the one thing that's kind of a dramatic thing in the movie is, while he's making The Wind Rises, the other guy who pretty much directed all the Studio Ghibli movies that Miyazaki didn't direct, this guy named Takahata, he was a co-founder of Studio Ghibli along with Miyazaki, and this third guy who's a producer essentially oversees the production of both their movies. But this other guy, the movie starts off with the studio announcing that both of these guys, these directors, Miyazaki and this other guy, Takahata, they're going to be releasing these two films simultaneously. And it's going to be the first two films that these guys have put out at the same time since My Neighbor Totoro and Grave of the Fireflies like 25 years ago. Which is funny because I think one of our first podcasts, that was one of the first pieces of Geek Week News and Review we mentioned was the results of this press conference. And so the movie starts off with that press conference, but behind the scenes you see that the producers already know that the other guy, not Miyazaki, but the other guy making his movie, is way behind, and there's no chance in hell he's actually going to make that release date along with Miyazaki's movie. And so the movie kind of jumps back and forth between Miyazaki just finishing up his own movie while talking to the producer who's trying to wrestle with this other director you don't see for most of the movie with his film as he's falling behind, and Miyazaki being super cranky about this other director, essentially dragging his feet with his movie. And it's fun to see Miyazaki being a super catty bitch. This other guy. Which is funny because this other guy, he's actually older than Miyazaki. He's the guy who essentially discovered Miyazaki and kind of like helped Miyazaki build his career. And so Miyazaki actually kind of owes a huge debt to this guy, but it's funny to see him being so catty to this other, co-founder of the studio. But the big emotional highlight is after they have the crew screening at the Studio Ghibli for The Wind Rises. Finally, you get to see Miyazaki and his producer go up onto the rooftop, which the rooftop of Studio Ghibli is actually, it's all like it's kind of paved, but it has little gardens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And finally, the other director comes up and to congratulate Miyazaki, and you actually get to see 3 of these guys at the same time for the first time in the film, which coming right after this crew screening for Miyazaki's last movie he's ever going to direct in this place really hit me emotionally, because these are also 3 guys who founded the studio.
Yeah.
And this is the last time you're ever going to see these guys together like this, right after, and I guess right after all this happened, Takahata, he also announced that the film that he was working on that, was delayed and everything like that, that kind of got fucked up. That's also his. He's going to retire after that too.
Yeah.
So it turns out, both those guys, 2 of the 3 founders, retired right after the making of this documentary, and that the third guy, the producer, he still works at Studio Ghibli, but instead of being just an on-hands film producer, he's just like a general manager of the studio now. And it's a really cool documentary. Like I said, it's really quiet and slow, but it's one of those things where watching the documentary and seeing these, it is kind of weird, because it's like documenting the passing of an age at the studio, because like I said, it's about these guys essentially wrapping up their last films that they're ever going to make.
Right.
And at the end it mentions that these guys are both retired right after the documentary was made. And so what I decided to do, I actually sent off a letter to the producer guy the day after I finished watching this, just because, you could easily find Studio Ghibli's address on the internet, just saying, hey, thank you for everything that you guys have made. And so it's not really a letter, it's just a drawing of me essentially gifting this little drawing to the producer, Suzuki, standing on the rooftop of Studio Ghibli, and no longer standing on the rooftop of Studio Ghibli, but off to the side are like Miyazaki and this other guy, Takahata.
Yeah.
But the big text at the top is just saying, "Hey guys, thank you so much for everything you've ever made." Now it's a cute little doodle, and who knows if they'll ever get it, or it'll probably just get lost in the mail. No one will ever see it. But it's one of those things where you realize that while these people are actually alive and out there, it's worth extending just like a little bit of a thank you.
Exactly.
Once these people are gone, it's kind of too late to do anything about that.
Exactly. It's always worthwhile to show gratitude to the people who do good things.
Yeah, and that's something actually with the advent of the internet, and especially with like Twitter. It's nice to have that avenue, even if your message is likely to get lost in the shuffle and everything, to say if you really enjoyed something, you could actually just throw out a tweet or even an email if you can find someone's email, just saying, hey, you don't know me from Adam, you know me from anyone else, but I just saw this thing, I really liked it a whole lot, just thanks, and that's it. Not internet, to, want to be clingy or weird about it.
Sure.
Like that, but
well, the internet is such an avenue of filth and shame and bullshittery. Every time I've ever reached out to someone of whose work or personality I am fond to say as much, it's it's something that's always appreciated. And God knows that it always means a huge amount to me whenever I get an email from a delightful member of the Boy Howdy Nation or the Ladylike Nation. Saying thank you, or even just saying, hey, I enjoy your podcast, it means the world. So people like to be nice, so good for you, Bill, for being nice to people that you like.
Yeah, and so like I've made that kind of a thing in my life recently, is when I enjoy something, and if I have the means to get in touch with that person, just to say, hey, thanks, not to be like, like I said, there's the other opposite end too, where people get a little too clingy and try to get upset when whoever they're trying to get in touch with don't get in touch with them back, and say thank you for saying thank you and stuff like. You don't want to be like that person either.
No,
but I don't know. It's nice
a gesture without expectation of return is always nice.
Yeah, it's nice to shoot like an arrow of gratitude into the darkness.
Yep.
Fate and the slim chance they'll even see it, regardless if they ever get back in touch with you or anything else. Just say, hey, thanks. This is a good thing. You've added to the sum of the world. It's a good thing. So
that's right.
That's what I did with Toshiro Suzuki, the producer of Studio Ghibli, who now runs the joint. So
good on you, Mr. Mudrin. So I take it you also saw Snowpiercer?
Yeah. Oh well, I saw The Wind Rises too. As a result of that, because the whole that whole documentary is about the Wind Rises. The Wind Rises is actually not very good. Terrible thing. I'm not going to go into a big review about The Wind Rises, but The Wind Rises is really weird because for the first half of the film, most of the movie sound effects are done by people making noises with their mouth.
Oh, really?
And, there's a giant earthquake scene, and so it's all people going, and it's just really fucking weird. And I'm not quite sure what Miyazaki was thinking. So The Wind Rises is all about this guy who's trying to invent really cool airplanes, and eventually
Right.
he ends up designing the best dogfighting airplane of World War II. But up until the point where he designs this super cool airplane, all the sound effects are all the other airplanes, and like I said, not even airplanes, but like the wind and trees and trains. It's all like, so I don't know if he's trying to make everything, like trying to make like the invention of these airplanes such a watershed moment that like everything that came before it kind of sounded like really old-fashioned and kind of like underpowered and weird by, and his way of suggesting that is by people actually making sounds for all the sound effects that accompany those things. Or I don't know, it's just the weirdest, it's really distracting. And the music is kind of, it's, in scenes where the music should be dramatic, it's kind of like really kind of frilly and kind of like,
It just doesn't quite hit the right notes for you?
Especially for an animated film, shows how much a couple basic sound design choices can kind of unravel your whole goddamn movie. Especially this movie is one of the more dramatic movies that Miyazaki's ever made, because there's whole dramatic death scenes and shit like that. So like,
well, there's,
oh my god, don't die. And
bad or weird sound can undermine any project, be it a podcast.
I know,
or,
exactly.
Like our terrible podcast that I don't know why y'all listen to. I tried to listen to last week's episode. It was all me clattering and shit. I'm like, fuck, why didn't I? Or like,
so anyways,
Snowpiercer. Or anything. Yeah, it's like, so yes, Snowpiercer. Now proceeds spoilers for Snowpiercer.
Are we gonna talk spoilers?
Ridiculous fun. I don't have to talk spoilers, but I could say it's ridiculous fun. It
was goddamn cute.
Fun movie. Costuming design was really good. What cracked me up about the movie opens with Chris Evans and his sidekick Jamie Bell. And in that moment, I was like, holy shit, this looks like if Bill and Foley had teamed up to design two protagonists for a post-apocalyptic film. Here's Jamie Bell with his big ears and his mook expression and a little bit of stubble. And then there's Chris Evans with just broad shoulders and this beard and his toque and everything. It was like...
So is that the Foley character and the Bill character is the other guy?
Yes.
The guy?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah, no, Snowpiercer is ridiculous fun. I saw it on the big screen. I recommend seeing it on the big screen. It is weird.
I saw it on it's on iTunes, so I just saw it through there, and I kind of regret not seeing it on the big screen because it seems like it kind of loses a little something.
It was great. Yeah. No, Foley and I we went to go see it in the theater, and it was a lot of fun. Foley, do you have any thoughts on Snowpiercer? Make it snappy.
Jamie Bell.
Yeah, Jamie Bell's great.
Jamie Bell is a mini beast man.
Yeah, we like Jamie Bell.
That's a hell of a cast. I was really surprised by the cast.
Yeah. He's hunky.
Yeah.
Chris Evans has amazing beard.
He's really impressive beard.
Yeah.
So cool. There's so many close-up shots.
Yeah, we got to examine his beard in minute detail.
You're into beard.
It's pretty choice.
I have to admit to being a little disappointed at the main star of
Crazy Weirdo.
Oh, Foley can't hear you.
What? Hold on.
Okay, Bill. Now repeat your sentence.
No, I was just gonna say I was a little disappointed that the star of a Korean-produced movie with all these different kinds of people in it had to be a big lantern-jawed white guy, though. That was a little disappointing. Chris Evans was fine for what he was doing.
Are we spoilering?
What's that?
No, we're trying not to spoil it.
Okay, never
mind.
mind.
I thought we were spoiling. But no, actually, there's something that happens at the end that kind of justifies the white guy savior thing. You kind of see where it's going.
I thought it was kind of deliberate that it was a lantern-jawed white guy because they were playing on the lantern-jawed white guy trope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's what you find out at the end. Well, but still, when you're first watching the movie, it's like, well, this guy's actually kind of the least interesting character in this movie.
Yeah.
But,
I honestly got really excited to see the gentleman from The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. The Weird.
Yeah.
He's so the whole movie.
He's so great. He's really great.
He's so awesome. What's up with people trying to make Tilda Swinton look like a freak in all these movies these days? She can't be in a movie without being all...
Tilda Swinton
is a weirdo.
She's a weirdo. She doesn't do it. She's the Christopher Walken of women.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this vampire movie that she's in with Christopher... What's his name? Tom Hiddleston? Were they playing vampires running around Detroit?
You know why we don't give a shit? Because you said the word vampires. There's nothing that's going to be tune out faster.
Blah, 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 blah.
Tilda Swinton.
Anyway. And then I guess they're hanging out with what's-his-face in this movie? Fucking Doctor Who guy. Alien guy.
John Hurt?
John Hurt, yeah. So I guess he plays an old
How
vampire.
does John Hurt have anything to do with?
He was in the 50s. He was in one episode of Doctor Who.
One
which
episode of
still
Doctor Who
means that you should lead in any description of him with Doctor Who.
That was good. That was really fun. Like even in tone, it has that kind of like bright, like kind of like grotesque caricature cartooniness that's really good for like a post-apocalyptic story. Yeah, no, it was really nice. And have you ever seen like The City of Lost Children or anything like that? Yeah, it was kind of like that kind of big, kind of grotesque but fun, kind of ridiculous kind of personality to it.
I like seeing big like sci-fi movies and stuff made by people that aren't American filmmakers.
Yeah.
Because it really, like, City of Lost Children is a really, I'm going to forget his name, but really influential French filmmaker.
Yeah,
I love seeing Korean cinema is badass.
Yeah.
And does some really cool stuff, so.
I just loved, slight spoiler, the ridiculous, like, just the ridiculous bloodbath that is that movie. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Snowpiercer. I think it's worthwhile to
get
through.
There's a lot of hatchet deaths in that movie.
It's so good! Foley and I afterwards were talking about it. Our one complaint about the movie was that there are they don't quite play enough with this sense of claustrophobia.
Especially on a train.
I have super unrealistic expectations of what Melee should look like
in
film, and it really felt like it widened out. And
they did quite consciously and like cartoonish.
So I had just gotten finished reading a book that you might actually like. That's about it's about 3 pivotal different battles, and one of the things that it talks about is in this one particular medieval battle. So like all melee weapons.
Mm-hmm.
How when they were crushed on each other and then they started trying to fight, they couldn't move.
Yeah.
So like if you had that many people shoved into a tiny hole,
that makes sense. Everyone just
wouldn't actually be able to do anything.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like fighting with like pole axes and stuff that requires broad like range of movement. Yeah.
I was wondering if they were gonna hit someone with the fish.
It made
at least he steps and slips on the fish.
Yeah. I thought they were gonna go somewhere very different with the fish. I thought like it was like somehow the blood was poison or something. Anyway.
Well, despite me complaining about all the white people, well, not even all the white people, but the main hero being a big white guy, I did like the cast though. I like that the school teacher ends up being what's her face. It's a quick Scott Pilgrim reunion.
Oh, yeah, that was Alison Pill.
Yeah, that was Alison Pill as the school teacher.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That was kind of nice. Yeah.
And
it was a Lucas
Lee movie. Yeah. That's what we were joking about.
Exactly. Yeah. And so this Snowpiercer actually a product of the Scott Pilgrim universe.
Scott Pilgrim universe. Yeah. It's like very believable.
Ed Harris and stuff, and John Hurt are good.
It was a beautiful, fun, goofy action movie.
And you got what's his face from Trainspotting as the guy who gets his arm frozen off. Which that's a great way to fuck up people too.
Yeah.
And you got the help running around fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh man.
It
was very satisfying watching her club people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great faces in that movie too. Aside from the science fiction element and everything like that, that's just like
the parkour dude.
Yeah.
Oh, the one with the tattoos, and when he's gonna kill the guy, he has a tattooed on his arm, surrender or die, and he twists his options.
This is ridiculous.
Like that. It's just
fucking ridiculous. It felt very much so. I believe it is based off a French comic, and it kind of felt like it in a good way.
Yeah.
I think it kept that ridiculous manic energy, and I thought it was just ridiculous fun. And as Jacob points out in our comments, it was a little on the nose. It was about as subtle as a brick to the head, but it was. And I saw the ending coming. But it was quite enjoyable. It was quite enjoyable.
Well, that's the way with most good post-apocalyptic movies are just kind of big. There's no subtext, really. I mean, there might be some subtext, but they're big, kind of big carnival movies. I mean, that's why people love the Mad Max movies so much, or at least the later Mad Max movies, where it's
good. It's just good, dumb fun. It's like it's just as smart as it has to be, but it doesn't think it's any smarter than that. It's just like good dumb fun. I highly recommend Snowpiercer. That and Edge of Tomorrow. I would like more dumb fun sci-fi movies.
It's the one post-apocalyptic movie that kind of came closest in tone to Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome for me, which made me really happy. Especially the way everyone's worshiping the engine, and Wilford, the guy who designed it, manages the engine. It's just like Captain Walker with the Crack in the Earth kids from Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Like, man,
Yeah.
and that's totally an homage to that. You cannot create a post-apocalyptic movie like this and not have that be a conscious homage. But
another thing I liked about this is that it didn't really bother very much about making sense, which I really enjoyed.
yeah,
We live in the era of explaining bullshit to death in a way that's not terribly interesting. We live in the era of the post-midichlorians era. I like that they're just like, you know what? It's a train. It's got a club car that's actually like full of club kids. It's just go with it.
well, it's one of those movies that's ridiculous, but not like in a way that's trying to take advantage of the potential stupidity of the audience. They're just taking for granted that you're just gonna roll with it, but without without leaning on that suspension of disbelief so hard to like squeak by and like really shitty like story choices or anything.
Exactly.
Like that. No, it's just fun. It's just a fun movie. Yeah.
So in summation,
as fun a movie about the destruction of humanity can be.
Exactly. In summation, Snowpiercer was really fun. Bill, tell me about D&D/Destiny.
Oh, this is me just throwing out. No, this is the this is gonna we're probably not gonna have the Geek Week news and review this week just because
we can if you keep it snappy, my friend.
I know, but I just said, but it has to go just in case we don't do that. I just wanted to bring up the fact that I didn't realize that there's a new D&D 5th edition comes out this week, which I'm not really up on that, but this is the new version of D&D that has you have characters of any kind of sexual bent or anything like that in the game.
You always could. This cracks me up. In this D&D edition, they explicitly have a section that say, "Have fun with genders. You can be whatever gender."
Did you not see the character sheet from the previous edition where it says choose your gender? It says male, and it says seriously, you want to choose male, and female at the bottom was like, okay, well, if you really want to be female, but we're not going to. It actually said that on the checkbox. It said, okay, it says, quote unquote, okay, be a straight female if you want, but that's kind of weird. Love the D&D guys.
It is wonderful that they put in text a thing saying, go ahead and be whatever gender you wish.
Yeah.
Be it male, female, or something else.
No, but this is for some of the rule books of it.
Sexuality. That's great. That's great.
Yes.
I'm just saying, I don't think that until this moment, no one has been gay. Just Dragon's Game.
Some rule books have like gone out of the way to support this.
No, I know. This is very good. That's
the good thing about D&D is you can always kind of take and break it and like reshape it any way you wanted to.
That's why if we do a D&D session anytime soon, Foley's going to be an owlbear. Because who the fuck cares? Are the D&D police going to come and knock on my door and say, actually, that is your monster. You can't be a monster.
Our one real big D&D experience was with Patrick Farley, who like we let us do whatever the fuck we wanted to, which was a great introduction to that. Like,
God bless Patrick Farley.
So this is me just saying that I'm going to have the starter set. It's going to be delivered to the house on Tuesday. So if some of us wanted to get together and D&D sometime, that's all I'm saying.
I want to have an actual DM. Is my thing. I want to have a DM who has experience DMing. Would be my caveat.
Well, hell, even Stephen Hines even have to do it remotely too. So we'll figure out something.
He did, but I love Stephen Hines. Do not get me wrong. But the whole point of D&D is that you're sitting in a room with your friends.
Yeah,
that's literally the point. Yeah. So, Bill, tell me what Destiny ? Means.
Oh, this is on the same tip. This is. Do you care at all about Destiny? Because the Destiny game comes out this week.
No. Oh, is it this week? I thought it didn't come out until. Did you say the Destiny beta?
Yeah, the beta. The actual game doesn't still come out until like the first week of September. Yeah. This is me just asking if any listeners are actually going to be picking up the beta this week because I'd like to play with people.
What's your name on whatever system it's on?
I think I'm Mr. A. It's on PlayStation 4.
Okay. So. Everybody go friend Bill. I'm pretty sure your PlayStation account is on our About page at boyhottypodcast.com.
I'm assuming I'm already friends with everyone who listens to this podcast. So it's not like they're going to seek me out. It's just a matter. This is me just telling the number of people who fit in the car who listen to this show. Just like, hey guys, want to play some Destiny this week? That's all I'm saying, yeah.
And if you ever want to see that I'm not playing video games and just watching Amazon Prime, or only playing single-player games that I don't want anyone to play with me with, then you can also friend me. I'm Foley Maloney.
I still think Foley would have a good time with this game. If you guys get really bored, you should, if you pre-order it and even just cancel it right after your pre-order on Amazon, you get a beta code. So if you want to check it out, it's a first-person shooter where we get to hang out, be social with other people, and cooperatively fight other monsters and stuff like that. And it's slow-moving, so it's not like overwhelming. You guys always complain about like, I wish there was a first-person shooter where you could be more social and is more cooperative. This is it.
I don't think I ever asked for a first-person shooter that's more social.
We like Call of Duty, but we wish we could just play with other people instead of just against other people.
That is true.
We wish there was more of a story component.
Cooperative.
Your checklist for first-person shooters.
I don't know. That's my checklist for co-op games. That does not mean I want a shooter MMO. I don't like shooters. I don't like most multiplayer games. This is
you can play as a lady, and you can dance on essentially the rip-off of the Citadel.
You know, I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about how Boy Howdy is and always has been a time sink for Bill, a time sink for me in a lesser way, but I don't edit it, and a money sink. And so I was like, maybe we could do a Boy Howdy Patreon. And then I was thinking, what would our levels be? And I was like, well, maybe if we raised over X amount of money, I would actually play a goddamn multiplayer game. That's the only thing I have.
And you would do it so begrudgingly and only for 5 minutes, too. Wouldn't it actually be worth anyone's money for you to do it?
If I had fiscal obligation guilt, enough Catholic guilt, maybe. Who knows? Probably not.
Jesus Christ.
Bill, tell me about Legend of Korra.
Legend of Korra, you haven't watched any more of the second season?
Nope.
You should catch up, because this season of Legend of Korra is actually shaping up to be pretty good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's already like halfway done, too, because like I said, they're showing 2 episodes per week, and there's only like 10 episodes per season, so it's already burned through like half the episodes that they're going to produce this year. No huge spoilers, but you sure learn a hell of a lot more about Lin Beifong's family in this last 2 episodes. Yep.
Do we learn who her father is?
There's Toph had an interesting life. You don't find out who her father is, but you find out that Toph had babies with a couple different guys.
That's rad!
You meet Lin Beifong's half-sister.
Oh, that's awesome! Oh,
yeah.
That makes me
so happy. And you find out actually Toph is still alive. You don't meet Toph again, but you just find out that like decades before Legend of Korra started, Toph just went off into the wild just to like seek enlightenment and has never come back, and no one's seen her since.
I love Toph.
It's and she just kind of like abandoned her kids. She's like, hey kids, I'm going out. I'm going out for a pack of cigarettes. I'll be back later. So. Which that totally fits in with everything we know about Toph. So it's a lot less focus on Korra being sad and mopey and making stupid decisions, and it's more about the focus of the group, like focusing on the whole group dynamic and stuff. And the smart airbending kid, Tenzin's kid, she's got a boyfriend now, and he's essentially Aladdin, except he's an airbender. It's cute. You should check it out. That's all I'm saying.
So I will say this. If someone has a spare Destiny code for beta, point it at me, Foley and I will swear right now, Foley and or I will play at least 2 hours. That is my promise to you, the Boy Howdy Nation.
And like I said, you can get your own code if you just went to Amazon.
No, I'm not going to, Bill. I'm not going to go so far as to authorize a credit card. If a code comes to me, I would play it. This is my challenge to the Boy Howdy Nation. Jacob here is saying that you get 2 extra codes and you pre-order. So I'm sure you can find one. Yes, this is what Jacob is saying.
Just give me one of mine.
Yeah.
So I would love to play with you guys and Conley, and I don't know. It could be a good time. At least
I'm sure it could.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You get to hear Peter Dinklage.
The
soothing sounds of Peter Dinklage in your ear hole.
Hey everybody, we're gonna take a little break, and then we'll be back for the Geek Week in review. All right, my friend.
Also, we're actually going to do it. Okay, I didn't realize
I told you. I said till 8:30. If we can make this fast, I'll stay until 8:45.
Okay, so we're going to blast through it. Okay.
There's not that much. I just have to go. I have to be at work at 6:30.
No, it's totally fine. Also, do we care about Q&A? Yeah, Jacob's been talking to us.
I've been looking at it.
Wants to know where we're from.
I'm from Texas. Bill's from Pittsburgh.
Hey, answer me. Laura Gromberg's probably gone. She got angry with us.
And Mr. Also, World asked if we said that Planet of the Apes, I hear, is a good movie.
Congratulations.
So yes, Jacob will play Destiny with you, Bill.
Yeah. But I want everyone to play that. I want to have a huge group. I want everyone to have like Destiny party. We can all have dancing together in large groups, and I don't know.
Just Bill's pack pack of
Destineers.
Destineers.
It seems like such a social game. It seems like half the fun will be like rounding up.
Yeah.
With, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't want to oversell the game or anything like that, but
oh sure, it's a shooty bang game. I accept that. I'm really bad at shooters. You're asking for me to come drag you down, is all you're asking.
You could play as a wizard though in a shooter. You could you have magic people and stuff.
I can hit a lightning bolt. That sounds really good.
Oh no, you can create a vortex that sucks people into it.
I'm a cast a portal. It's gonna be real good.
Oh my god. Okay.
Hey everybody, it's now time for the Geek Week in Review. Did you know that the Millennium Falcon can also function as a time machine? Bill Bennington did.
Wait, I
link says video
I don't think I edited these again.
Star Wars Episode 7 set visit.
So this is just the thing. You probably didn't hear about this. Kevin Smith visited the Star Wars set. He a couple days actually after he visited the Star Wars set, he just had a great little. Do you ever see these things where Kevin Smith will actually go at he has talks and people pay him money just to talk at them, which is really.
I know of this phenomenon, yes.
So yeah, I guess it was kind of a Q&A thing. So he was just describing his time on the Star Wars set, specifically his experience of going onto the Millennium Falcon and feeling like a 10-year-old kid and all this stuff. And it was just, I know everyone's kind of hating on Kevin Smith these days, that he's kind of just a stoner has-been who can't get any movies made, but just gets stoned and makes podcasts. But yeah, his talk about the Millennium Falcon thing was actually kind of cool. If you have 5 minutes of your spare time, it was as a fellow Star Wars fan, and just him just describing locking onto not just visiting the outer Millennium Falcon set, but the way he describes it makes it sound like they actually built the entire interior of the Millennium Falcon within that, so you could actually walk up to the Millennium Falcon, and there's the cockpit and the chess set and all that stuff. So that was just kind of cool. I just thought that merited mentioning on the podcast.
That's pretty good.
So,
Frankenstein's comic book swap.
So, friend of the podcast, Tim Goodyear. He's starting up a little miniature comic book convention called the Frankenstein's Comic Book Swap, which is going to be held here in Portland, Oregon, literally a block and a half away from my house, here at the Eagles Lodge on right by 50th on Hawthorne in southeast Portland. It's going to be a bunch of dealers and stuff like that. Like if you want to go just buy cheap 25-cent back issue comic books, this is the place to go. So
that sounds adorable. And Tim Goodyear is a good fella.
Yeah, it's kids are super welcome. I think admission at the door is $1. It may be very tiny. This is the first time he's ever tried to put anything like this on. And I get the feeling that there might be only maybe a dozen people selling comic books, and it's just going to be. It may not actually be retail vendors. It may just be guys like us, just selling shit out of their basement. But I just kind of like the idea of just a little comic book swap just happening just right around the corner from my house. So, and I actually was helping JoJo. JoJo filmed a little commercial for it, and I was helping him edit it. So I thought, what the hell? I'll pimp that stuff on the podcast.
Good old Tim Goodyear. Yeah, if you like the comics, go swap some comics, huh?
Yeah.
AMC theaters are dropping 600 million smackers to replace most of the seats in its theaters with Lazy Boy-style reclining chairs.
Which is fucking genius. I guess they caught on to the fact that one of the things that's nice about watching movies at home, aside from the fact that you're home and the bathroom's right there and you have to share it with other people, is you got you might have reclining seats and shit like that. And so yeah, I don't know if it's all. Did I mention if it's all of their theaters?
You just said
a lot of their theaters. Yeah, just ripping out most of the seats and replacing them with Lazy Boy recliners, which that's a great idea. I don't know if that's going to help them sell any more tickets or anything like that, but that sounds nice.
Well, there are all sorts of more independent theater chains that are doing the premium
there's couches and shit like
that. Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense. You got to sell the experience for movies nowadays.
Well, that's one of the biggest movie chains in the country too. To think that all of their theaters are ripping out so many of their old chairs and replacing them with recliners. That's just. Also, that must be interesting because I'm sure they can only fit. I'm sure they can only fit less recliners in the same space as they could the old seats. So they must be losing money that way in terms of the number of seats they can sell.
Bill, I'm going to point this out though. The last time you saw a movie that wasn't an opening night special movie sort of moment.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a full theater? Have you ever seen a more than half full theater?
Yeah.
It's like tumbleweeds in there, my friend. It's just me and the mice watching the movies.
I tend to avoid going to the movies on opening day weekend. I think the last movie I saw on opening day weekend was like Star Trek last year, Star Trek Into Darkness, and that was actually people sitting in the aisles and stuff.
Yes.
That's
what I'm like. There are event things, and those.
But that that's a big summer tentpole. But yeah, even like I saw a Lego movie like the Monday after it came out, and that theater was practically me and like 3 other people. So
yes. Yeah, if you don't go see a movie opening weekend, you may as well be going alone. It's nuts. Mm-hmm. It is.
You don't care about Planet of the Apes?
No.
Okay, that just came out this weekend. Just speaking of movies that just came out.
Also, Mr. Urban World, commenter Mr. Urban World on our Google Hangout was talking about it, so I know all about it, Bill. No, I'm not a big fan of what's his butt.
But you love bears, but you hate monkeys. I don't get it. They're just big furry guys who like to fuck shit up.
You're right. Monkeys
bears will never use guns.
Just weird, lanky bears. You got it, Bill.
They all kind of have like fangs.
Did you know that Destiny Special Editions include a $99 limited edition and a $150 Ghost Edition? Bill didn't bother to include what's in those editions. He just put the dollars and the names.
The limited edition just has like extra booklets and shit like that. The $150 Ghost Edition is pretty much just that, except with a $50 little cube with Peter Dinklage's voice that comes out of it that you can put on your desk as like a paperweight.
Wow.
It's motion activated though, so it only turns on when you scream at it or almost sit on it. Don't sit on me. I'm the ghost.
It's a really good Peter Dinklage impression.
When your ass grazes its surface, that's what it says. That wizard came from the moon.
Oh, because your butt is the moon.
Yeah.
It's a good joke, Bill. It's really good. I'm very proud of you.
So Andy, I'm just saying, if you throw down a $100.50 pre-order,
and then cancel it immediately, so you get my pre-order.
What kind of risk are you running there?
Ken Levine talked about on Twitter very briefly this week that when he came out and was discussing a BioShock game that was announced for Vita and then got in legal limbo and never came to be, that his hope was that it was going to be a Final Fantasy Tactics style game set pre the fall of Rapture.
Yeah, which would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the world of Rapture would work so well as an isometric game, which the guy who's doing a Kickstarter for an adventure game called Static did a faux isometric Rapture sort of thing that looked astonishing, and it was just like, yeah, son, that's that Fallout 1-2 itch.
Levine specifically calling out Final Fantasy Tactics made the picture in my head I got it of essentially Rapture is reimagined as like little Japanese chibi stuff, or it would still be like kind of that look, but still like all the characters would be kind of stunted. It wouldn't be like super gritty and badass, but it would kind of be, but like in a kind of cute Animal Crossing kind of way, which would even be cooler. Like if you had like little chibi like Big Daddies and stuff, I mean, come on, that'd be awesome. Well, I guess it wouldn't have Big Daddy.
There's your next copyright infringement print, my friend.
I know, but still, that would be fantastic. Like little
Splicer masks and everything. Yeah,
especially set in a pre-Rapture world, that could have been great.
The Splicer masks can all be animal masks of Animal Crossing characters. So you can have like a drugged up murderer just like KK Slider.
Yeah, if you want to make it super edgy, you make it so the faces actually look like they've been ripped off the animals and not just masks, but like the skins or something like that.
You hear that? Do you hear Hot Topic calling us to license this idea?
That's what I'm saying. There's something about like the kind of like the grittiness of like Rapture and stuff like that. I kind of like the idea of having a cute bent to it, because if you do it just straight like Rapture, like isometric style, it just kind of be, after a while, it'd be like it'd be too gritty to want to live and play in after a while.
You'd be surprised. Bill, how many hundreds of hours have I spent playing Fallout?
I know, but
And have you ever looked at an isometric game that is not a fantasy RPG? They're all gritty dystopian bullshit.
That's this thing that could have made this game unique if it was a tactic style just taking place in the Rapture world.
My counter argument to that, from a financial and business perspective, is that if you're already running your risk of the IP of doing I don't know, you can make a counter argument there. I was gonna say, if you make a non-traditional type of gameplay, to then chase that with non-traditional rendition of that setting could theoretically be driving away your audience even more. But you can make the argument that your audience is already being driven away by the fact that it's not a shooter, so you may as well double down. I don't know. It's almost like that's exactly why it never got out of legal limbo.
Jacob in the QA says he's already PayPal'd Ken Levine several payments of money to try to bribe him into making this game because he loves Ken Levine's game so much.
Let's see. Old Harry Potter at the Quidditch World Cup. Bill,
did you actually read the short story that came out?
Fuck no. I've already gone through my Harry Potter morning. I'm not gonna get my long dormant Harry Potter boner all turgid just for like a 700-word essay in which they, in passing, mentioned that Harry Potter is currently present at the World Cup. Not worth.
I picture you trying to grow a pair of testicles just so you could teabag your computer screen while it's at the Pottermore homepage.
I'm just saying, that boner ship has sailed, my friend. I have already wept my Harry Potter tears.
No, that's fine.
I
honestly meant to try to read that before we recorded this week's podcast, just so I had something to say about it, but I just got distracted by other stuff. So yeah, that poor Pottermore site. That didn't I say she was pretty much done with Potter? She'd never write about him again. It seems like she's just doing this as a promotional stunt just for the website.
She said that she could see herself revisiting the Potter universe, just not in the way.
Maybe like in a decade or two, but just like. Hell yeah, who gives a fuck about Harry Potter at the World Cup? And then other people
Who gives a fuck about Newt Scamander? WB, they gave her like $80 billion to write those movies, Bill.
Does it end with him just talking about how awesome the adventures of Newt Scamander are and how he can't wait for his new book/movie merchandise to come out? Like, is that the... Boy, how handsome is that Newt Scamander 100 years ago? Ah, schnibby schnee.
Bill, I'm gonna throw this out here. If you create a website to extend the experience of your property in a way that will directly benefit you in a financial fashion, do you just sit there and go, "What? You want me to write more shit for the fucking website? I made you a dinner. You want me to cut up the steak for you too? Of course I'm gonna cut up the fucking steak."
I know it's not me blowing the doors off of anyone's minds by suggesting like, "Oh my god, you think she wrote this Harry Potter thing just to help out the website?"
It is literally,
like, I don't know.
Literally the whole point of this website was to give you an extended, exclusive Harry Potter experience. That was like part of with like writing that no one else has ever seen. That was part of the press release day one, my friend.
Yeah. Well, I like how half the fandom seemed to be pissed off because it was written by Rita Skeeter, and so it's all like bashing Harry Potter and his friends. The other half of it pissed off just because it's dredging up all the who got married and who got married to who that got people were pissed off to begin with at the original end of the original last Harry Potter book. People are still upset about that shit, like the fact that Ron and Harry, what was it, Ron and Hermione got hooked up, and people are still super fucking bitter about that shit.
Dude, fandom wars are brutal.
Yeah, but this is like 7 years later, and people are still like, fuck that Harry Potter.
The older I get, the more grateful that the time I spent in fandom, not to say that I no longer spend time in fandom, but...
No, but you're lurking.
As I've grown older, I've realized the value, or what I want from a fandom is to have what I had in my youth, which is maybe 4 to 5 close friends with whom I share my enthusiasm. Yeah. I am not interested in having like my Tumblr be badged with my ships and affiliations or anything like that. I'm not going to start a Spotify account for my fanfiction soundtrack. I don't need to do any of that shit anymore.
Speaking of Tumblr, did you hear about this DashCon?
Oh my gosh, yeah, y'all, if you have not heard about DashCon, highly recommend doing a Google search for DashCon and the ridiculousness about it.
At first, it's kind of funny, but the more you read about it, it's kind of horrifying how fucked up this whole thing was.
It's a rabbit hole of, are you kidding me? That was climaxed this morning with the notice that someone had urinated in the DashCon ball pit. Do not play in the DashCon ball pit.
What the DashCon ball pit was? It's like a little kiddie pool filled with like maybe about 150 plastic balls.
That's in a giant convention space.
It was intentionally designed to make it just seem as quiet and as depressing as possible.
DashCon it was intended to be a Tumblr con for Tumblr fandom in particular, a cross-fandom convention.
Oof.
It sounded ridiculous. One of the many things that it was accused of doing or that it did, was literally the day before the con, they claimed that the hotel was demanding $17,000 or the con could not go. They raised the money for this, climaxed with attendees singing "We Are the Champions" in one of the lobby.
After being fleeced of this $17,000, yeah.
When the hotel was contacted, they said, "What do you mean $17,000? We don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah. And so I guess the DashCon organizer said something about, well, maybe this is money for next year that we'll use, or something like that. But it was the most kind of like, well, we needed a down payment for next year's hotel stuff. That's what we meant.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You're actually showing up on Friday to a convention, and you can't even get into your hotel room until you cough up God knows how much. You essentially have to do like an impromptu Kickstarter in the lobby just so you can go upstairs and like take a shit in your hotel room.
The other thing that got them a little notoriety is that a big thing that they did was they had the Welcome to the Night Vale folks coming there to do a panel. They did not pay for their flight, hotel room, or anything like they claimed they would, and so the guys just were like, fuck it.
Yeah, it sounds like they dodged that bullet. Shit.
Which I don't blame them, really. I feel bad for anyone attending this con, but, you know. It is hard to throw a convention, and the larger they get, the more difficult they get to pull off effectively. My heart goes out to anybody, but this sounds really rickety.
Also, even aside from that, it sounds like the I think they were projecting like originally it was going to be 6,000 to 7,000 people showing up for this convention.
They projected 2,000 to 3,000.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. People on the show floor said it was more like between 500 and 1,000 people.
Ooh.
Although, imagine how much if it really was only 1,000 people. Well, I guess if every person donates $17. That's their $17,000 that they raised in that night. But still, it's fucked up, man. Anyway, so yeah.
DashCon. Who'd have thought? The original cast of Alien is reuniting. The original cast of Alien is reuniting for Alien Isolation DLC.
Unfortunately, it's pre-order DLC. That's well, it was announced that it's pre-order DLC. You can only get it if you pre-order. Was it? Oh, not only pre-order, but you have to pre-order through GameStop.
They came out and said that it wouldn't be pre-order only.
No, eventually, when people were up in arms about this, because also there's no way they're going to drop all this money hiring all these actual actors to be part of this DLC to make it GameStop exclusive DLC. Yeah. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. Which is kind of cool. I like the idea that you'd actually be playing as Ellen Ripley in an Alien game. Everyone says like even the participation of the original Alien actors aside, even if it didn't have this DLC, everyone's saying it seems like a really cool fucking game. So this is just icing on the cake.
It's kind of brilliant to do a a first-person horror game set in an alien universe.
I still love the fact that you're just playing as Ripley's daughter. That's just something that just seems kind of cool. And the fact that they're intentionally going after that like 70s kind of Ridley Scott aesthetic too, just kind of cool. But well, did you see the other thing where GameStop is talking about? They're not only trying to ramp up their efforts to secure more pre-order DLC stuff like this, but they're trying to work with game developers to secure GameStop exclusive gameplay. Not content like bonus missions, but there would be basic things in games that you would not be able to do, like moves or power-ups that would be completely exclusive. You only
GameStop exclusive ability to heal.
Yeah, or so, but that's kind of what everyone's like,
want to jump
that would be the
Mario?
kind of thing they're anchoring for. So that's not going to happen. But GameStop is pretty much a bunch of ballsy motherfuckers for even openly suggesting that they're going to do this. So like an Assassin's Creed game where like you might only you can only use have special things like GameStop exclusive like poison darts or something like that, which is that just even grodier because at least like expansion packs and DLC at least that's self-contained missions. Fine, fuck it, whatever, GameStop, fuck you. And that's, again, all that stuff always ends up becoming available to everyone else eventually.
Beyond that, I guarantee you, Bill, core gameplay would never be exclusive to a brick-and-mortar retailer.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but this is more part of the death throes of GameStop. This is more a desperation move than
this is going to be more like, sure, you can smoke jump, sure, if you go to GameSpy in a game that you don't fucking have to smoke jump at all.
Hey Nintendo, how about you put some GameStop branded fire flowers in this game?
How about that, huh?
Maybe you shoot discount prices at the Goombas.
You shoot used Barbie's horse mansion discs. Ed Catmull, VFX animation wage fixing scandal.
Oh, I only dropped this in because I didn't think we were actually going to talk about this week. So Ed Catmull, he is one of the head guys at Pixar. He was one of Pixar's head tech guys. He was the guy who wrote a lot of their software and stuff like that. It's funny, actually, his son lives in Portland, and I actually bought a print from Ed Catmull's son 2 years ago at Stumptown. That's neither here nor there. Ed Catmull, one of the head guys at Pixar. Also, it turns out that he's being investigated by the government for wage-fixing scandals. Supposedly, he worked with Disney and a whole bunch of other companies to wage-fix people's salaries within both the visual effects and animation industries. And now the government's going after him because that is illegal as fuck. And they've already depositioned George Lucas and a whole bunch of other people. And it sounds like this is not just a suspicion anymore. It sounds like this is a real thing that he was like Ed Catmull had run this whole thing of trying to drive down everyone's wages, essentially getting all the different animation companies to agree not to pay their employees very much. Yeah. So there's no wage competition between the different companies. Yeah. Supposedly, the only studio that didn't really play ball with this was Sony, and so this week specifically came to light that Ed Catmull was really out to destroy Sony Animation because they paid their people whatever the market dictated. Yeah. They weren't part of this whole wage fixing scandal. So yeah, I hadn't heard about this until just like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. It's all over Cartoon Brew, but I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. So. Ed Catmull is also like he looks like someone's uncle, like someone's sweet uncle. And it's like
sweet perverted uncle?
You never judge a book by its cover.
Wait, I've never seen a picture of Ed. What does Ed Catmull look like?
How is it that I know what Ed Catmull looks like?
You know, like Ed Catmull nudepics.com?
You literally just watch
he does look like someone
on Pixar. Yeah, he looks like
he should be really able to go.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So Ed Catmull, evil supervillain of the animation industry.
Sad. Oh man, he has a Twitter account?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. He gonna get in trouble. Oh no, spaghettios.
Anyway, yeah, shitty. It's
anyway,
almost like people can be shitty D-bags.
And tell us all about this next thing, which we haven't already talked about.
In summation, rest in peace, Dickie Jones, the voice.
Oh no, we're gonna skip over. We're not gonna talk about any more sexual fluidity of Dungeons and Dragons
because we literally already talked about it. And why would I bring it up again?
A person who is other kin in Dungeons and Dragons, where you think you're a dragon, but you're not, and everyone just thinks you're nuts.
The game where you already were a gay dragon, you can officially be a gay dragon.
It says so in the paper. Gay dragon, copyright.
I'm not. Please know that I am not slamming this. I think this is important.
No.
And it is valid, and it is rad that they did this, and that they not only opened it to heterosexuality and homosexuality, but to explicitly to the whole range of sexualities, like even right up to asexuality, was awesome, and bully to them, and in something that's as much of a boys' club as Dungeons and Dragons, that's really cool.
So what you're saying, your reaction to this is like everyone's reaction when like Tennessee finally like repeals its like anti-butt fucking laws in like 2009 or something like that, where it's like, why was that ever allowed to begin with? Like, who cares? Like, that's completely irrelevant now. Yeah.
Well, there's a thread of me where it's like it was really like the wording of it. I totally get what they're going for, but they're like, you don't have to be a straight white elf. Did you know? You could be.
Did you know?
It's like you don't have to be a straight white human. Did you know?
I can already see like the magazine advertisements.
A genderqueer dwarf? I'm just saying. The world is
you can actually make shit up in this game that's been around for 30 years.
There's a part of me where it's like, you can use your imagination. And here's the thing. I'm being a dick because this is great. And they go like, you could be like a lady dwarf who has a beard, and like think about playing with gender and gender expectations in the cultures. It's awesome. I'm being a total jerk about this. This is a good thing. I'm being a jerk.
Annie, I'm just saying, not all gelatinous cubes.
Hey, you know what? You know what's most important? This weekend, sadly, I did not go to GamerX. I'm kicking myself if I did not go to GamerX. This weekend was GamerX down in San Francisco, the gay gaming con.
Yeah, I heard good things about that, yeah.
This is its second iteration, and unfortunately it's last. Big bummer. I did not go, but one of the things that was announced this weekend, I'm so excited about this, is that the Iron Bull from Dragon Age Inquisition is pansexual. Come to Mama.
Oh, really?
Iteration of Mama Mama's coming for the Iron Bull. I'm very excited about my future giant beast boyfriend. Pretty thrilled about that. Yeah. That's
Did
what
you see
it's
the ball pit at Gamer X? Oh, it was a fucking good ball. No, actually, I didn't realize that could actually be a double entendre. I was just gonna say. I just like the idea they would actually run it like an Olympic-sized swimming pool filled with like it's like their version of the $250 of pudding sketch, but like oh yeah, we give you the real ball pit here at Gamer X.
So Bill, tell me, Dickie Jones, the voice of Pinocchio, what did Dickie Jones do after Dickie Jones voiced Pinocchio?
You know what? He was like in a bunch of westerns and stuff. It seems like he kind of retired from acting. I didn't realize the kid from I did not realize the guy who did the voice of Pinocchio was still alive.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he did anything other than be the voice of Pinocchio. You know what the terrible the irony is that he died. He was sold to the salt mines when shortly after the making of Pinocchio. They just found his corpse just last week.
He actually died of a fall.
Oh, really?
You asshole. Yes.
In the salt mines. His
course.
skeleton had little donkey ears. It was the saddest thing. He had a little skeleton cricket next to him. It was had little boots, little spats. It was the saddest thing.
Yep.
Trying to make light of the death of this elderly man. He brought joy to millions when he was like...
Oh, Billy.
Also, Dickie Jones. Oh, you know what? I didn't realize that's also the name of the bad guy in RoboCop. Dick Jones.
It's a really cartoonishly, like, normal name. Like, you know, Richard Jones. It's like a...
Can you change the name of characters in Dragon Age?
You can name your character.
You can't change the name of pansexual Iron Bull. His name can't be Dickie Jones now.
Sadly, no. But I will. You know what, Bill? I can use my imagination to imagine whatever. In your mind, you can be anything. You don't have to be a straight white male. Did you know? It is so sad to me that you have to say that out loud. Power to him. Bless. But you know
I was watching Snowpiercer. I just put on brown sunglasses so everyone just seemed like a minority, and it just improved that film so much.
So, you know, I can make fun all I want, but when I went to go see this production of True General of Verona, one thing that I was struggling with was my own internalized misogyny a lot during that show. Because the show was really femmy, like really femmy, because the whole point of the production was that it was an all-female production, and so they made everything very feminine. So all the men's costumes.
So it wasn't like they didn't play up kind of like the butch kind of fun kind of gender kind of stuff.
It was not like a drag king thing.
I was kind of hoping that's kind of what they could have done with it.
And it was, well, I mean...
The only way you could do an all-female production of anything, but...
It was an interesting take, and it made it this very focalized feminine thing that I really... focused feminine thing that I thought was really interesting. But the whole time, because I'm a person has been hardwired to think like a straight white male, the whole time I was like, this is kind of femmy. This is pretty girly bullshit.
So kind of gay. I don't know, it's so weird.
I wish these girl boys were butcher. You know, that's what I was thinking the whole time.
You know, I mean, that's you're totally wrong. You're not wrong for thinking that.
It's my own druthers, but it was totally my internalized misogyny.
Well, instead of money, was it like everyone is everything being bought and sold like tampons or something like that? Like
yes,
the set's pink.
Yes,
it's just
actually the set was pink.
Oh, really? That's what I'm saying. Oh, come on, guys.
Hey everybody, did you know that just for 100 tampons a month, the Boy Howdy Patreon, Annie will log on and then log off of a multiplayer server for a game?
Annie will show up, not even turn on voice chat, kind of pretend to kind of like move the gun towards the wall, and then disconnect 45 minutes later. And you can say, what? Annie will be the ./.com-con of Destiny. Well, I showed up. Give me another $17,000, and I'll stick around for maybe another half hour. I don't know what's going on.
Everybody, this is the Boy Howdy Podcast. We're boyhowdypodcast.com, at Boy Howdy Podcast on Twitter. Howdy at boyhowdypodcast.com is where you can holler at us. Bill is at Mudrin. I am at Spinooty. You can give us a holler. You can leave us a review on iTunes and tell everybody how terrible we are.
We are terrible. The worst.
Worst. I spent a lot of our drive listening to My Brother and Me, which is a good, funny podcast. And the whole time I was like, oh god, our podcast is the worst. I'm going to go set our podcast on fire. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Kaboosh! Flames on the side of my face. Oh, that was podcast.
All right, my
friend.
friend.
We actually got that done. It's only, it's not even 9 o'clock yet.
I told you we could do it.
Yeah, you're the best task mistress ever.
All right, my friend, I'm going to send you this thing. Jacob, thank you so much for hanging out with us, as well as, if you're still there, Gamaline.
We got 3 people
Urban
watching.
World, Laura, Gomrick, and all the folks who did not leave a comment.
Somebody with either an Arabic or Persian name says that they were going to watch. Yeah, so we actually had a couple people watching us, which is actually pretty good considering it's 9 p.m. on the West Coast on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
Wow, we got to do this more often.
That's right.
So,
I will send you my file, my friend.
Annie, I will see you on the battlefield of destiny.
You know it. When is that? When is that beta?
I think it starts Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we'll see about. Maybe I will get extra codes. I don't know. I'll research about the code stuff.
Yeah, Jay, I'm serious. Jay, if y'all hook me up, I will play. I will not go to any fucking effort. I'm gonna go as far as going to
actually, pre-orders for most of the versions of Destiny already sold out, so you would have to put a pre-order down for like the most basic bare bones bullshit. But like I said, I'm not really. Actually, I think Foley would have a good time. I mean, you might kind of be like, but I think Foley would. We'll see. We'll see.
Man, I wanted to have Foley come in and do a little review of her sniper game because she just finished it. It was so cute.
Really?
We'll do it next week. Next week we'll have.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll have special guest host Foley to talk about her podcast.
That'll be super cool.
All right, my friend. I will talk to you soon.
Okay, I'll talk to you later, Annie. Thanks everyone for watching. Goodbye.
Bye.
I miss you. Yeah, so my Snowpiercer outfit, as I'm just saying. I'm gonna see if I can drive people away before I actually shut off the broadcast. Oh my whole head is really pear-shaped. I don't see that until. Okay, I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Okay.